Guess who's talking about books again? So today I'm gonna talk about the books that I read this May. I'm probably not gonna do this kind of video every month because I don't nearly read enough to make my channel around books. But somehow I read 4 books, which may not be a lot for a lot of people because I've seen people on TikTok read like 59 books in a month and I can't. So for me, this is a lot, especially because it's kind of weird how my procrastinating ass just prioritized reading instead of, you know, finishing last university work and getting ready for exams and all that irrelevant stuff. I just can't stop giving this woman money. So, you know, I read this because people on TikTok were overhyping it and I was really looking forward to it. I was like putting off buying it because I wanted to save, you know, the good one for later. I don't know, this is maybe my 5th Colleen Hoover book and it's my least favorite one. Like, it was the most fan-fiction-y of them all. I still give it like 4 out of 5 because it was fun to read. It was a quick read. It didn't really have as many trigger warnings as like her other books, but it was like, I don't know, usually her books have some sort of spice to it and something that makes them different from like other romance books. But this was so, it really felt just like reading Friends with Benefits fanfiction. I don't mind fanfiction, I love fanfiction, but when I read books, fanfiction is not what I'm looking for. So yeah, this book is pretty much about a girl who moves in with her brother, and their neighbor is his brother's best friend who's got commitment issues, and she like has a crush on him and whatnot, and they have like a friends with benefits thing, and then you kind of find out why he has his commitment issues. And that's like it, really. Second one I read is The Wife Between Us. I think I mentioned this before, but I bought this because I loved Colleen Hoover's book Verity so much that I was searching for books that were gonna be similar. And this also was described as being something similar to Gone Girl, like the vibes. This book has 343 pages, which is not abnormally long, like that's a normal book. But it took me so long to read it and I can't put my finger on why. It wasn't that it was bad. It wasn't complicatedly written. It was just, I don't know. And the story is about a woman who was married to this rich guy and they got divorced, and so her life is like a mess now, and he's getting married to this new woman. And you know, that goes from there. And I was really expecting some kind of big, huge, life-changing plot twists in this. So the first half of the book is kind of like, okay, when is something gonna happen? Like, what is really going on? And then when you start reading the second half, it's like a little twist. And at first I didn't get the twist. I was reading the second part of the book and I was so confused because I didn't understand what was happening, so I googled it. And I was like, wow. First of all, I'm quite thick. And secondly, that's some very clever writing. I promise you, the twist is not like uncomprehendable. Like, it's pretty easy to understand. I just couldn't, I don't know, I'm just unique and I didn't understand this twist, but I promise you, you probably would. There was like another twist at the end, not a very huge one, but like an interesting one, but it happened in like the last 5 pages or something, and it was very like this, it was over. It felt like the first part of the book was really dragged, and then the second one was just like chop 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 chop. It was weird, but good. I would probably read it again sometime because the twist in the middle would really change how you read the first part in the book. So I think it would be a good reread. And now we get into the bangers. Oh, I bought this book because I couldn't really find another book there that I wanted, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy this one that I've been seeing in every bookstore. And I've been putting off reading it, don't know why. It's a thriller and I thought it was gonna be like, oh, but the more thrillers I read, the more I understand how much I like them, but then maybe I should read more. When I got into the first few pages of this book, I thought, shit, I'm in for some, like, I shouldn't have bought it, because it does include quite a bit of Shakespeare. And I'm not saying that Shakespeare is bad or anything like that. It's just, I just don't understand it. I'm not good with like poetic writing because I just can't understand it. I don't like reading the kind of very like complicated poetic writing. And so when I started seeing that it had Shakespeare, but it wasn't that bad. I just kind of skipped through the Shakespeare parts. So the story is about these 7 kids that are students in some sort of like theater, art school, academy, very much dark academia vibes in this book. They do Shakespeare plays. The interesting part with the Shakespeare stuff is that the characters that they play in the plays kind of seep into their lives and their personalities, which is kind of interesting to compare. So if you read the Shakespeare parts, you will kind of, it will give you like a little foreshadowing, I guess. So one of the guys is killed. So the main character from whose point of view we are reading this book is put in jail for that crime. But throughout the whole book, we understand that he wasn't the one who did it. And by the end, we know who did it. And the ending, I have to say, is very heartbreaking. It's very sad. I don't think I've ever said so many curse words in a row when if you know me, you know I love sad shit, and this was sad shit. The whole time I read it, I couldn't stop thinking about how this would be an amazing movie. I give this 5 out of 5. No brainer, just easy. And last but not least, I read Alone with You in the Ether. I didn't really know what I was going into, except that it's gonna be a love story, and people on TikTok were saying that it's life-changing. And so I was putting off reading this book, and I took it with me to Italy. And as soon as I started reading on the plane, I realized that it maybe wasn't the right decision. And not because it's a bad book, but it is because it is so jam-packed that it's not a quick read. You can read it quickly, but to kind of understand and really let everything sink in, it's not like a book you should read in like 2 sittings, you know what I mean? Has this very, very, very beautiful writing, but not too poetic to the point where I could understand everything that's going on. The story is about a guy named Ronaldo who is a mathematician. He's giving classes on maths or something. He's doing his dissertation as well. And also Regan, who works at a museum and gives tours. And one day they just meet at the museum and shit happens. So beautiful how complicated it is, how many, like, this was the first book I decided to annotate. Man, I realized that I don't know how to annotate except for just like underlining stuff I liked and just writing a bunch of crap in the book. An artsy person and a maths person combined together, and all the metaphors and the way that they think and they speak, there's so much to unpack, there's so much. And the ending, I was like reading the last like 10 pages with my mouth just hanging open because I couldn't believe how full circle it came. And I want to say a different shape and not a circle. If you read this book, you know what shape I'm talking about. Ronaldo, the main character, the mathematician, explained perfectly what I've been talking about in my previous few videos about just living life on autopilot, sort of. I don't know, it feels so wild to read a character say exactly what you're thinking so perfectly. Sometimes I feel like I'm just waiting for something that will never happen. Like I'm just existing from day to day but will never really matter. I get up in the morning because I have to do something, or I'm just wasting space, or because if I don't answer the phone, my dad will be alone. But it's an effort, it takes work. I have to tell myself every day, get up, do this, move like this, talk to people, be normal, try to be social, be nice, be patient. On the inside, I just feel like, I don't know, nothing. Like I'm just an algorithm that someone put in place. And this book is full of gems like that. A little side note though, is that you can't get this copy anymore because it got purchased by like a publishing company, which means it's gonna have a different cover and all that. And I can't imagine this having a different cover because this suits the book so well. And I can just imagine the published book being something like two people with their minds connected and like some sort of flower petals or like glass shards coming out of like somewhere, and or you know, one of those like yoga pictures where like two people are like intertwined or something. Okay, that's it. I will go. These are the books I read in May. If you have read any of these, let me know what you thought. And also, do you know anything similar